And I just wanted to ask you, you're from Denton, and you made your start there. I know you got picked in high school to be part of a lab band at North Texas. But tell me about that experience, and then your decision to turn down a full scholarship and come to Austin is interesting. So just tell us about your coming up and who you are and how you got started and what brought you to Austin.
The growing up in Denton was fantastic. It's a fantastic place to be from. And I got a call from my high school band director, Carol McMath, saying you should take this opportunity because Leon Breeden called. They're starting a second summer lab band, and they're one trombone player short. And I was a sophomore in high school, and so that was a fantastic opportunity for me to play with guys like Bones Malone, Lou Marini from the Blues Brother movie, Sal Marquez, John Thomas, many other young guys at the time at North Texas. And to see Stan Kenton or Woody Herman walk in the rehearsal, and then next day it's like, where's the alto player? He's gone on the road. So that was fantastic. But for me, I didn't understand what North Texas was. I thought it was just the local college. So I had been to Austin to come down for Boys State, and that was a fantastic experience. Before that, I'd been down here to visit my brother, and I fell in love with Austin the first time I drove across the city limits. So I couldn't wait to get down here to the University of Texas, march in the Longhorn Band, and I expected the UT Jazz Ensemble to be twice as big as the North Texas Jazz Lab Band program. But I was shocked to find out that the Lab Band program here was just getting started. So I came in with a lot of experience as a freshman, and it was not what I expected. And I came down with a scholarship, but I gave up the scholarship the very first day of class because the music department didn't want me to be in the Longhorn Band or the Jazz Ensemble. And it's like, well, I don't really want to be a band director. So I just looked for a short line and said, well, I'll get in that line. So I was a psych major for my first 2 semesters and then switched over to business. I got a business degree.
Well, let's back up a little bit. How'd you get to trombone?
The very first time I ever climbed up into Sarah Jane Gasson's treehouse, she had the treehouse right behind the Denton Bronco football field. And the adults could get up in the treehouse and watch the football game from the end zone view because it was the football stadium, then a creek, and then her backyard. And so the very first time the adults came down at halftime and the kids went up, and I saw that front line of trombones coming down, I go, that's what I want to do. I want to play football.
Now, did you start playing right away out in the city, or were you just sort of sequestered at the university? It sounds like you were doing some club stuff, but when did you start playing out?
For me, there's 2 levels there. One was one day a long-haired hippie walked into the jazz ensemble and said, you want to be in our rock and roll band? And I said, it's a trombone. And he turned me on to this new band called Chicago. And I went, whoa, my mind was blown. Jimmy Pankow and the horn section there. And it was like, that's awesome music. And so we started a band and we thought about calling it Austin, but we thought that was a little too blatant of a ripoff. So we named the band Zilker Sunday. And the horn section was from the jazz ensemble. And my roommate was Paul Ostermeyer, saxophone player. And Paul lives in New York now and, did a short stint with Blood, Sweat, and Tears and is a fantastic saxophone player. So he was in Zilker Sunday with me. Now, Paul and I also took a jazz improv course. And so we went to find James Polk at the inspirational guy at UT. And we're really the two reasons I came to UT were Vincent Ardenino with the Longhorn Band, who was a legendary force of nature, and Dick Goodwin. And Dick Goodwin was the founder of the UT Jazz Ensemble. And Dick's approach to music versus Leon Breeden's approach to music was night and day. Leon was get better or get out, and it's a competition. And with Dick Goodwin, he brought the joy of music and inspired a whole generation of us, including John Mills, Mitch Watkins, Spencer Starnes, John Traynor, Ron Brown, who went on to play with Diana Ross, Rob Lockhart. And when Dick left town, he went to South Carolina, and it continued to inspire guys like Greg Wilson, who moved here, along with Jim Worth. Jake Lampa was in that sphere of the Dick Goodwin influence in Carolina. So being around a genius and an inspirational character like that, he said, go find James Polk on the East Side. He's got something called a jam session. So we went to the jam session on the East Side and went up to Dr. Polk and handed him our little blue mimeograph sheets for How High the Moon and another jazz standard. And we were so impressed that he had them memorized. And I remember we were kind of making our excuses, saying, well, he says, and to me, I remember he said, young man, music is not a competition. Everybody has something to say. So at a jam session, when it's your turn, you just stand up there, you blow your horn, and you say what you have to say, then shut up and sit down.